I'm recovering Catholic, and welcome to my first YouTube video. You may recognize me from the Christmas Relay, or a couple of Beelzebub's videos, which I will leave linked below. Um, I've tried to record this first video over and over again, but then I was looking for what I may want to actually say during it, and I came across in my iPod notes what I had written out about my views of religion as of October 2017, and I feel like that's a pretty good introduction to what I experienced and how it has led to my views on religion today. Um, so here it goes. I was raised Catholic, but due to a series of events in a youth group at the church my family used to go to, as well as not finding fulfilling answers to questions of mine during my first year of preparation for confirmation, I am no longer a practicing Catholic, nor a member of any organized religion due to those poor experiences. The youth group was Life Team, to clarify. In the youth group, after the nuns had left, because the nuns ran it differently, I'd been surrounded by people who were arrogant in their faith and believed in verbally or even physically abusing people into submission for having different beliefs to theirs. They put my health in danger several times in the name of their faith by laying their hands down on me and pushing me down, praying for an asthma attack to end, rather than letting me get my inhaler. Not to mention, when one of the adult leaders of the group very seriously told me as a 12-year-old that the devil was out to get me and that I needed to speak to a cardinal. This being the day after my first and worst asthma attack, which you can listen to me discuss in Beelzebub's video on the Steubenville Youth Conference. But there's also several other things which occurred, and I'll get into those in the future. But these were some of the most memorable that affected me personally. As for confirmation, I had very serious questions about certain aspects of Catholicism, which I disagreed with. But none of the youth group leaders who ran confirmation lessons would answer them. And our learning for the year I stayed out of a 1.5-year long program was watching various videos about celibacy. Just celibacy. On my way home from the lessons one night, I discussed it with my mom, and she wholeheartedly supported my decision to not get confirmed. There was backlash from some other people I knew, but I have never regretted it. The priest of the church at the time and my parents did not know that those things were happening, because I was terrified that they would tell me that those people were right. I was petrified that I was somehow evil incarnate and spent the ages of 12 to about 15 just going along with what most of the youth group said in hopes that I would impress a God I believed in at the time. After telling my parents years later, I'm glad that I was wrong on that front. And I believe now, after being out of the group for years, that the priest would have been horrified at what was being taught by the youth group. There were comments on Beelzebub's videos about my priest and how he should have been, watching more carefully what this group was doing. But much like any abusive power group, they hid that. They always acted on their best behavior when he was around. And he had a lot of other things that were going on. He couldn't keep an eye on the youth group that, for all intents and purposes, he thought was doing what they were telling him all the time. And though unfortunately he was wrong, I do not blame him for the situations that arose. or the person that it made me, as well as other people in the group. I wholeheartedly blame the leaders, and they know who they are. Anyways, so after I stopped forcing myself to be what the group encourages, I went on a bit of soul searching, and the closest description of my faith is agnostic. I believe in powers greater than myself, but I do not seek much definition as to what those higher powers are, nor do I seek people or groups with similar beliefs. I follow my set of morals, and imagine there may be a form of life after death, heaven, ghosts, reincarnation, oh my. I don't know, and I'm not going to stress myself out trying to find the answers. I think religious texts of any faith give insight to ideals of the people who wrote them, and ought to be taken within historical context, as well as with a grain of salt. Many dietary restrictions in such texts, for example, seem to actually stem from concern for their members' health due to what type of food storage and preparation was possible or utilized at the time. Some other stories may have been meant to teach morals and not describe factual events. I fully support my family's religious practices and participate when asked or when I'm well enough to do so, as it brings them peace to have the family together at church. The church my family attends now also doesn't have the members of the previous church who led to my break away from an organized religion, so I have no qualms about being there. I love my family. This is me breaking off of it again. I love my family, and I may disagree with what they believe, but if it is something that will bring them comfort for me to attend, and I do not have to be around the people who put me through hell, I'm more than willing to go with them and be with them and participate. And they also show me that same mutual respect if I decline to go. And I love them for that. I support and encourage people of more defined faiths, so long as said faith isn't being used by the person to bully and belittle others. I think fondly of doing charity work with nuns and still love attending Christmas Mass, especially to see the little kids, because I love kids. They're so precious. However, I will likely never follow nor raise my future children under a particular religious order due to what I experienced. And, that's still the case. I still feel like I did in 2017 about that. I do not think I will raise them under religion. If they wish to practice religion, so long as they are not hurting themselves or others, I'm fine with that. But that is their decision to make. Just like my parents allow me to make that decision eventually. And religion can be beneficial to many people. I understand that. But it isn't for everyone. And religion often does more harm than good when put in the hands of corrupt people, like the leaders of Life Team. I try to forgive people like them, because clearly they honestly believed that they were doing things that would help me. But at the same time, I remember what they did, and I know that it still makes me anxious, hesitant to approach authority or to question it. I don't feel comfortable expressing my opinion or my dissent, but I am no longer that teenager. And I am not going to allow an organization to continue to control my life like that. I've faced a lot of hell mentally because of it. But I will not live my life being bitter. I will live my life by doing better and encouraging others to do the same, which I hope I can do with this channel. So there won't be much of a schedule. I'll upload or not. I may sing, I may talk like this, I may do more scripted sort of stuff just because it makes me feel a bit more comfortable to have all of my words in order. But I've got a lot to say, and I'm not going to let the fear that they instilled in me keep me from saying it anymore. So, thanks for listening. Have a day full of wonder and a night full of rest. This is Bree wishing you the best. See ya!